We're just gonna have to hope it all works.
Look right into the camera.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Did you see?
Sorry, I'm just getting my papers in order.
We're not going to address this at all. We'll address it at the end. You have to, if you're listening, you have to go to YouTube and like and subscribe and leave a comment.
Like, subscribe, comment. Okay.
Yeah, like and subscribe and comment on the YouTube to find out what we're talking about. Did you see the new Fantastic Four trailer?
Nope. Okay. I could not give a fuck about anything superhero.
I know that you're checked out of the MCU. They got the Silver Surfer in there.
Okay.
Okay, and it's the girl Silver Surfer.
Oh, she got silver titties?
No, she's bad. She's bad.
Yeah, she got silver titties.
Do you want to see a picture of her?
Oh, wait, bad as in good or bad as in bad?
No, like bad as in like she's baddie.
Oh, okay.
You want to see a picture of her?
Yes, please.
Okay. So incels online naturally are hold on. Incels online are naturally like the Silver Surfer's a man.
Yeah.
Even though she's an actual comic book character, like there is a female Silver Surfer. It's literally just his girlfriend. But like
okay.
She's bad.
Yeah, her mouth looks kind of weird, but maybe that's just for that like
it's
screenshot.
It's a screenshot
yeah.
of her like in the trailer, and she's like moving in. So
she looks like she's got the fucking vacuum from Teletubbies' mouth.
Yeah, kind of. I just it's so funny to me when incels are like, God damn it, they gender swapped a male character into a baddie. I'm mad about this.
Fuck, this beautiful woman is playing a role that I like. God damn it.
Damn, I have to see a female destroyer.
I gotta get hard in the theater now.
Oh God, have you ever been hard in the theater?
Probably.
What movie was it? I'm assuming it had something to do with torture.
Yeah, I think it was Lamb.
It's an awful movie.
Lamb was a great movie. Every movie should be like Lamb.
Boring.
Fucking have a bunch of sheep in it and then have a goat dude at the end that just wasn't mentioned at all that suddenly stands up and kills everybody.
That's kind of how The Witch goes.
I never seen that.
You should watch The Witch. You liked did you watch The Northman?
No, I wanted to, but I never did. Cuz from what I've heard of it, it's a lot like it's Vinland Saga in terms of like it's a fucking Viking revenge story type shit.
The Lion King, but Vikings, but it's the Lion King is Hamlet.
Okay.
Animals. So it's Hamlet but Vikings.
Okay. Is that not just Hamlet? What was Hamlet originally? The English?
Old English
people
with like silly colors and stuff. But this is Alexander Skarsgård, I think, or Peter, one of the Skarsgård brothers. Are you what are you drawing?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, I see what you're drawing.
It's for them.
Okay. He's drawing for this episode.
Yes, I will be taking notes this episode
of the Learning Curve
podcast. My notes will look like this. They'll be really fucking cool.
Wow. Okay. Welcome to episode 14. That's a really elongated S.
I completely missed the fact that you transitioned us in.
It's good luck editing.
Yeah. I have a question for you about.
We didn't finish our transition.
Oh.
We have not introduced ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
What's the guy from ASU that's like the legendary sports broadcaster?
I have no fucking idea.
Someone's screaming at it right now.
Anything like cool and relatable?
I'm Nancy Grace.
Nancy Grace? Is she that person from Stranger Things? Wasn't there a Nancy in Stranger Things?
I've never seen Stranger Things. I just know that Millie Bobby Brown's in it.
Yeah. She was bald.
Oh, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say because you'll out. No, Nancy Grace is the one. You know the lady. You know who Casey Anthony is, right? The chick who I legally can't say murdered her kid.
I was about to say she like Yeah, I know who that is.
She's on TikTok. So when we corrupt this, and if she even gets a whiff of me mentioning her, she's probably going to sue us. So I got to say that she did not, in fact, murder her kid, but she was tried for it and acquitted. And a lot of people don't believe that the trial was done right. Nancy Grace was the news broadcaster who was like on her ass.
Okay.
She's like, she's got a bob.
She got a bob? Yeah, the haircut.
Yeah. She's kind of a drag performer, honestly. You got to look at a picture of her, but she disappeared from the public eye, and then Casey Anthony got on TikTok, and then Nancy Grace just rose from the dead and was on Fox News just going on a tirade. And I was like, Fox News W, rare Fox News W. So yeah, I'm Nancy Grace.
I am Bodhi, aka Shrinky Dink, aka the journalist.
The journalist.
Yeah, I'm journaling.
I watched this episode last night with Hayden Christensen, and he was a journalist. And
was it Star Wars?
No, I was like, wait a minute, non-Star Wars Hayden Christensen, let me lock in. And so I watched it, and it's about this. It's a real story, apparently. It's about this guy who's at this magazine called The New Republic that apparently was like super popular in the 90s and early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And he essentially just started like making up all his stories, like fabricating them from start to finish, not even using like real stuff.
I love that.
And the entire plot of the movie was, you know, that thing where it's like source and then they post a picture of Dr. Manhattan. It's like, I made it up.
Yeah.
That's the entire plot of the movie. Like, and he goes like to like extreme lengths to cover it up. And it turns out like every article he's ever written was fake.
You can never trust the Sith. I've been saying that.
Well, this is the crazy part. So this was the magazine that like the president read on Air Force One. So like Bill Clinton and Bush were just like reading this like magazine and like getting public policy ideas from it.
Lovely.
Yeah. So did Hayden Christensen cause 9/11?
Possibly.
It's possible.
Were there children in the towers?
Yeah.
Then yeah, he did.
I'm sure there was. Today, do you know that today, the day that we're recording this, is the anniversary of the OKC bombing?
Nope.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the 19th. Yeah.
There was children in that bombing too.
Never
Have you ever
forget.
heard like the story of that?
No.
It's insane.
I bet.
Again, what's your question for me?
Do you know anything about Chapel Rowan? The only reason I'm asking is because I heard something that she was getting. It is she, right? Okay, she was getting shit for, from like other drag queens, drag performers about only doing drag to like suit her, like stage personality.
This is not the drama I've heard with her. So two completely I haven't heard that. In fact, she actually went on tour and she had like her openers were local drag queens. It wasn't like super famous drag queens.
Okay.
So I don't know where that's coming from. The drama that I've heard with her is that she's like very politically outspoken because she's like from Missouri.
Yeah.
But the way that she delivers her messages is not the best.
Yeah, I've heard she is pretty abrasive when in like interviews and
it's
shit.
not even like the abrasiveness. Like I'm all like she's like holds like the media like accountable to the point where like there was a photographer that like said something kind of rude to her and like she saw him again and she kind of called him out like in front of everyone like on a red carpet.
Okay.
I don't mind that. Like go off. Like the paparazzi's just ass.
Yeah.
It's more like she did an interview like right before the election and they were like, what are your thoughts on politics? And so she was like, obviously like I'm very like progressive, you know, like I've spent 6 years trying to build a brand and like I was going to have to give up music. So like I know what it's like to be super poor, you know, yada, yada, yada. And they were like, who are you voting for? And her answer in the last election, in which the choices were Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, where they are both equally as bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get that you're frustrated with the Democrats, but like, I don't know. I could confidently say that like 9 out of 10 situations that we're in right now probably wouldn't be happening with the President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I don't think anything would be getting better.
Nothing would be getting better, but nothing would be getting substantially as bad as it is right now.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of people's frustration is that like she kind of refused to just be like, yeah, like I don't really like the Democrats, but like, I'm gonna suck it up and vote in this election because like Donald Trump is a decisively worse choice than Kamala Harris. Like, he literally is like a fascist.
Yeah.
And like she like refused to do that. And then recently she gave another interview where she was like, yeah, I just try not to be too political because I don't think people should be getting their politics from celebrities, which is like, okay, but you were political like 2 months ago. My thing with her is that she's very progressive on the lines of not wanting to be political, like, and like not thinking that she should be the voice and like reason for people to vote. But like, you kind of got to take the world as it is, not as you want it to be. And the fact is that like young people do put a lot of stock in what like their favorite celebrities do.
Yeah,
You see how like young men react to Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
like Andrew Tate says jump, and 18-year-old men say how high.
I can get behind her being like, yeah, you shouldn't be getting like your politics from me. Like, I can understand what she's saying. It's essentially just like, you need to figure out the world around you and come to your own conclusions, not just do whatever I tell you to.
Right.
At the same time, I do think it is good to advocate for things when you have like a platform that big.
That's my thing, is that so she has a huge platform. She's blown up crazily over the last year. And she's from Missouri and she's very outspoken. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, have you seen the tweets where it's like protesters spent the better part of the last quarter of the Biden presidency like protesting Democrats, like support for Israel, which is valid, totally valid. But now that like Trump is in power, there's just zip from these people. Like, there is no, hey, let's go crash Republican town halls to protest against Israel, even though Trump literally was like, do whatever you want.
I mean, there
still is protests, but what I'm saying is like the groups that were leading it are decisively quieter. And it's like, that's not a good look, because it comes off as like you just are allergic to power. And I understand like where they're coming from, because that was my whole thing, is with the election, I said it's easier to protest Democrats than it is Republicans. But her whole thing is she does that kind of stuff just in general. So she's super outspoken against the Democrats, but then in her own home state of Missouri, they passed a literal like anti-trans bill. Nothing from her, crickets. And it's like, okay, you're such a big advocate for LGBTQ plus rights, but when it's literally in your home state, there's crickets from you. There's nothing. Like, you don't want to say a single thing. Like, you're not going to stop that bill from passing, but like, you don't want to make a post and, post resources, but you'll post resources to protest the Democrats who are not in charge in Missouri.
I mean, I still see an equal amount of people like speaking out for Palestinian emancipation as I did before the election. Like, most recently at that Bernie rally in...
Did you go?
No, I didn't. I didn't know it was happening. Oh. Like, I've wanted to go to like some sort of a political rally or something, but I didn't know it was happening until like I saw the clips of the people with like the Free Palestine flag that were getting escorted out by the cops.
Yeah. Well, it is Folsom.
Yeah, I did see hella people. Like, I saw another video of someone flying a flag off of a plane. You know what I'm talking about? Like those banner things that says like Folsom is MAGA country.
Yeah. I mean, like, it is. I mean, it's so funny. They elected a guy that's like a super MAGA guy for their House of Representatives. And he just like has not been seen. No one knows where he is.
Yeah, that's about right.
But this is my thing. So I think it's perfectly fair, because there was this thing about like, oh, you know that meme where it's like, I bring a sort of blank vibe to the party that blank really doesn't. And it's like the guy leaning over the balcony. Yeah. Someone posted this thing and it was like, I bring a sort of Free Palestine vibe to the party that Bernie really doesn't like. And it's because Bernie said that Israel has the right to defend itself, which it's like, you're not going to get a sitting US senator to be like, another country does not have, like, regardless of if you think it like should have the right to exist or not, an existing country, a country that is recognized by the UN, does not have the right to defend itself, you're not going to get a sitting US senator to say that. It's just not going to happen. Like, even the most pro-Palestinian like member of Congress, who is Rashida Tlaib, who's literally Palestinian, was like, yeah, I have like conflicting feelings about like people saying that Israel should just be completely wiped off the map. Like, I don't really like think that that's constructive. But like, Bernie is the only person who has like straight up put a bill for an arms embargo. And so my problem with it is like, there's this like aura of like, you need to have like political perfection to support someone. Whereas you look at MAGA and like, Trump has admitted so many things wrong. Like, they literally admitted that they deported that guy, Kilmore Abrego Garcia, as an heir, and they're just doubling down on it. Like he's admitted fault. Like, and his supporters are still like, yeah, no, deport every brown person now.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why the Democrats don't get in power, is because the progressive wing like routinely is like, you need to have absolute perfection, and if you're not a perfect politician, like to my desire, you're out, and I don't want to support anything you do. And it's like, I would rather support someone who fits 75% of my political ideology than someone like Donald Trump, who like I disagree with every single thing that he says. He's never said anything that I've agreed with.
Yeah, that's the why I hate liberals, because they're always the fucking like, oh, you said something I don't like, so I'm just going to do everything I can to advocate against you, even though like the majority of what you're speaking for and the things you say like fucking further the things that I think are better for us. You said one microaggression against me, so now I fucking hate you.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing, is like, one of the biggest phrases I hate is Google it. And it's like, no, don't tell someone to do that. Like, if you're in a position to explain something to someone, just explain it.
Yeah, if you're coming at me with a talking point and I'm like, okay, well, how do you know that? Or can you like elaborate into it further? If you just tell me to look it up myself, I'm like, okay, you have no idea what you were talking about. You were just regurgitating things that you have heard.
Well, it's not even that. It's like with like the microaggressions or something like that. You know, if you say something that's like, for me, like homophobic, let's say, like, yeah, I really don't want to deal with a homophobe, but I would rather, like, if they're going to actually sit there and listen, I would rather explain it to them than tell them, well, this is wrong, but you should Google why it's wrong. Because they're going to get an AI answer on Google. It's just, I don't know. It's whatever. Anyway, I still support Chappell Roan. I think she's a great artist.
Yeah,
I just think that there's this phrase that gets thrown around a lot, media training, which I don't particularly agree with, because it usually means like, don't take a stance on anything, don't say anything that could be controversial, don't, you know, like, be yourself essentially. But I do think that there is a certain amount of awareness that you need to have with what you're saying, because the media is going to misconstrue every single thing that you say. And so I don't want to say it's better to say nothing, but it's like, just her delivery there's something off about her delivery, and I can't even pinpoint what it is.
Yeah, if that ever happened to me, where like I make a point and then it gets like clipped and they're like, oh, look at this fucker, look at what he's saying, and then a bunch of people hate me, I don't think I would have wanted those people to like me to begin with, because that's just such short-minded, like, just no critical thinking, no being like, okay, why did he say this? Let me try to find out more about it. It's the same thing like with the reason why I hate liberals, is like, you just see one thing that like is bad out of context, or maybe even in that short context, but over the greater context it makes more sense, and then they're just immediately like, ah, fuck you.
Yeah,
like, not that we are anywhere close to that point, but
well, yeah. And I mean, I hate to give the W to Fox News twice in one episode, but like, the Fox News is on at the gym, because they have all the TVs with all the news stations, and like routinely they're calling out that like the Democrats right now are just like all over the place. No one is like, there's no one decisive like, you know, leader. There's no one decisive like thought process, and it's like, they're right. They're absolutely right.
No, yeah.
The Republicans, Donald Trump, again, he says jump and they say how high. He says deport someone, they say how many do you want us to deport, you know?
Yeah, the left is for so long been just like fragmented in messaging, and then even in their ideas of what they want to do, and at this point they're not even the left anymore, they're just the right part two, because they just keep capitulating to the Republicans.
Well, and that's the whole thing. So they're like, there's like mumblings going around of like, oh, like, what do we got to do? And they're like, well, do we need to like be so vocal about trans rights? And it's like, yes, that's actually part of the reason you lost, is because like, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't stand for anything, who's going to want to vote for you? And that's like what I tell people is like, there's this like saying in politics that like with the 7 swing states, right? Those swing states are pretty like set in stone as far as their like red or blue counties.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one county in each that flips the state.
Yeah.
And that county usually has a few thousand people. So it's literally like, I think the statistic is like 150,000 people in the United States are the ones that flip the election for the swing states.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the Democrats are always so focused on those ones when there is a gold mine of unactivated voters. Like California only has, I think, 60-something% of eligible voters like registered to vote.
Yeah, but get more people to vote in California isn't going to do anything.
No, but I'm saying like in the there's a study done, and it said that if you take everyone in the United States, and I don't know the numbers exactly, so I'm just going to kind of like estimate what the numbers were, but they said if you take all the eligible people that can vote in the United States, U.S. citizens over 18, and if you have no felonies in certain states, because certain states give voting rights back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are an eligible voter, basically, the amount of people that hold like a Democratic value, like if you were like, here's the Democrat plan, here's the Republican plan, they like the amount of people that choose the Democrat plan are like just overwhelmingly overpowering the Republican support.
Yeah.
And so for the Republicans, they've activated all their voters essentially.
Yeah.
They need that 150,000 base of swing voters, right? The Democrats, I think it was like, if you get 50% of all the people who hold a Democratic leaning voting record, or would likely vote Democrat to vote, you would win the election every time. If you get 60%, it's like a 1980 style blowout. And if you get 75%, you get like just a century of Democratic rule, unchecked Democratic rule, that they can just do anything they want without hesitation.
Yeah, and I think the Democrats, I feel like, know that, but they're going about it in the wrong way. Because what the Republicans will do is they'll say like, hey, shit's bad. This minority or this marginalized group is the reason why. Don't you hate them? You'll vote for me. I'll kill them. And then the people who hear that are like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, and I'll vote for you. Whereas the Democrat strategy was, oh, hey, you see those guys? They're pretty bad, right? We're not those guys. Vote for us. But now their strategy is they're saying the same shit. They're like, oh, yeah, you see that marginalized group? That's the reason why things are bad. Vote for us. We'll beat them up really bad instead of killing them. But
well, it's like they'll say, oh, the Republicans want to like do a nationwide abortion ban. Okay, well, what is your plan to counter that? Yeah. Not even like, we're not going to do a nationwide abortion ban. Like, what is your plan to put it into law to a point where it's not going to get revoked?
They don't have a plan. They're just like, oh, we're just not going to do that.
I was telling my mom this the other day, because my mom, after the election, really just lived out. It's kind of crazy. Like, my mom and dad are famously like politically like apathetic. Mm-hmm. My mom is like on her full lib shit. She sends me stuff about Elon Musk all the time. And they're like, she's like, they should deport him. And I'm like, dark woke here. Go ahead.
He's on an expired visa.
Yeah. So she was like telling me about the tariffs, and she was like, oh, I don't think these people like knew what they were getting into with this. And I was like, no, I think they knew. I really do. I think they just hated people that didn't look like them more than they care about their wallets.
That I feel is not true, because there are a lot of Republicans now that are like turning on the Republican Party because of the tariffs. Yeah, it's starting to hurt their wallets. Their treats got taken away, and so now they're pissed off.
That is true. I met a guy the other day, and I won't tell you how I met him, but I met a guy who was registering to vote, and he was like, yeah, I'm a lifelong Republican and I don't agree with this, so I need to register to vote as a Republican so that I can vote to fix this. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. But I'm not allowed legally to like tell you that doesn't make sense. But go off, King. The tent is growing.
All right. Let's switch gears.
Do you have something?
Yeah.
Okay,
have you
cool.
seen all of the like Star Wars announcements that they came out with?
Fortunately.
There are a few. I only know about like two of them.
Here.
Yeah. I only know about a couple of them. Let me see if I can get the full list right here.
We got The Mandalorian and Grogu, which...
Dude, okay, so that was the first one I saw, and it pisses me off because the Mandalorian was like a good show for the first season was just great across the board, no complaints or anything. The second season, that was the one where he ends with the Darksaber and Luke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that one I thought was also good.
It just relied a little too much on, hey, remember these guys? Because they had Rebels characters. I
thought the Rebels characters didn't come until season 3.
No, they were in there too.
Well, I mean, Ahsoka Tano was in there, but I forget her name, the
Jin,
green Twi'lek.
Oh, I don't remember her. What is the blue bounty hunter's name? Not Cad. Well, Cad Bane, yes, but Jin something. No, it's not Jin.
Sabine Wren.
Yeah, the girl with the orange hair.
Yeah, she's from Clone Wars more than she is Rebels.
But like, she brought the Rebels team into it.
A little bit.
And so it was just like...
I thought that was fine. I thought Sabine Wren was fine because the Mandalorian was originally rescued by Death Watch, which was like a Mandalorian extremist group.
Yeah. It wasn't like all nostalgia bait, but you could tell that Jon Favreau like very much did not have as much creative control in season 2 as he did in 1.
Yeah, you could see it was kind of trying to tie back into the greater Star Wars universe. And then season 3, I didn't end up finishing it because I just kind of got bored of it.
Did you get to the part where they were on Coruscant?
No. I think the last thing that I watched was they were at that like Mandalorian enclave. They had just gotten like reinitiated into the order. They like went to
desert.
Yeah, they like went to save a kid from a bird or something.
Okay, so that let me tell you what happens because it's actually like annoying. So spoiler alert if you haven't seen Mandalorian season 3, but it came out 2 years ago. So
yeah,
basically, there's 2 shows going on at once with season 3, and so it kind of cuts back to Coruscant and they do something on Coruscant and then like 4 more episodes go by and you're like, what happened to that original plot of them going back to whatever it's called, the Mandalorian planet?
Mandalore.
Yeah. Because that was like the whole thing was they were going to take back Mandalore.
Yeah.
They like save it until the last 2 episodes. But like, it's just like 4 episodes of like filler. Like there's actual like the stories are fine, but like it just was like, okay, the point of this season is to take back Mandalore.
Yeah.
Episodes 1 and 2 were about it, and then I don't know how many episodes there were. I think it was 9. Episodes 1 and 2 were about it. 3 through 7 were just random shit happening. Nothing to connect it, and then at the end they were like, oh crap, Mandalore.
Yeah, that's how I felt about Book of Boba Fett. Did you watch that one? Like the middle half of it was just Mandalorian season 2.5.
Okay, so that was one thing
like
that
Boba Fett just wasn't in a few of the episodes.
Yeah, and I that's one thing I didn't particularly like about it.
Yeah,
but I still enjoyed it, and I was shocked to find out that the majority of people did not like the Book of Boba Fett.
I thought it was okay.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, especially the train scenes.
Yeah,
like I thought it was cool, but honestly, if I see another desert, I'm gonna kill myself. Like,
there are more things than deserts out there, Jon Favreau.
Guys, there's a whole planet with like mushrooms on it, giant like oozing mushrooms where they murdered Jedi.
Yeah,
like
Yeah, but seeing the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, I'm just like exhausted with that franchise now. It started off so good, but now it's just getting ran into the dirt.
It doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't. Like, they kind of, with season 3, it kind of ended on like a, okay, this is it kind of note. Like, they took back Mandalore. Mm-hmm. Like, that everything that was like they were building up to, like, built up to it. Like, what's her name has the Darksaber again.
Yeah.
Like, everything is all good to go. Everyone's in there.
It's not Sabine Wren, it's Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan, yes. Yeah. That's what it is.
I think Sabine was her sister.
Either way, like, that's what it built up to. And like, I was kind of like, we ended season 3 and I was like, I don't know what they're going to do for season 4, because
there doesn't have to be a season 4.
This is the whole thing. He left Grogu on Mandalore. He left. He's done. He's like, he's going out, and like him and Grogu are not like together anymore. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it was kind of a repeat of the end of season 1, which is fine with me. But like, what do you mean you're making a movie called The Mandalorian and Grogu? And also, why are you calling it The Mandalorian and Grogu?
It's for marketing, but I
get that it's for marketing. It's a stupid decision.
The movie, I think, is supposed to happen between seasons 1 and 2, if that helps, because he has the Razor Crest again, and that gets blown up in season 2.
Oh no, it comes back in season 3.
Oh
yeah.
Okay, that fucking sucks, because I liked his little Naboo starfighter.
What's her face rebuilds it for him?
The green Sigourney that I can't remember the name of.
Sigourney Weaver, the girl that's like the mechanic.
That's Sigourney Weaver?
That's Sigourney. That is Ellen Ripley from Alien.
When did she get so short?
She's always been short.
I thought she was taller.
Everyone looks taller.
But anyways, other stuff that they are making, Maul Shadow Lord.
Guys, we have to let Darth Maul go. We really have to let. I get that he's cool. I get that he has a double-sided lightsaber. We have to let him go.
No, he's a great character. Double lightsaber aside, he's a great character.
Kathleen Kennedy seeing Darth Maul and the skinny cow when she has a bunch of buckets. Because it's like, he was in fucking Rebels.
Yes.
He was in Clone Wars.
Yes.
He was in... I'm like 90% sure he was in one of the video games. Not like Battlefront. Like one of the actual, like... What is it called? The one with... that Jedi Survivor or whatever it's called.
He wasn't in those. No.
I just feel like they shoehorn him into everything, and it's like, oh good, is Obi-Wan Kenobi gonna come back?
I mean, all of the stuff they've made for Darth Maul has been kind of centric around his story. It's not like they're putting him into something just to put him into something. Like, he was in Clone Wars. He was like the main antagonist of the Siege of Mandalore. Because he ends up taking over the planet and gets the Darksabers, becomes the ruler of Mandalore.
They didn't show that in Mandalorian.
Yeah. And then the Rebels, it's kind of like him, because there's a disconnect between Clone Wars and when the original trilogy is happening, where Darth Maul is running a crime syndicate. It's never like mentioned in the movies or anything, because they didn't know they were doing that when they made those movies.
A crime syndicate. That's one thing.
Yeah, he's the head of like a major crime syndicate. I think it's called like the Crimson Moon or something. I wonder if it says it in here.
Fucking doing shit behind Palpatine's back.
Well, no, because he wasn't Palpatine's apprentice anymore at the end of episode 1, because he thought Maul was dead.
Oh, okay.
And then
so he just wanted to do he just was like, I'm gonna come do my own thing.
Yeah. And then in Rebels, that kind of well, in Rebels, Darth Maul is supposed to die, now that I think about it.
Doesn't Obi-Wan kills him?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be like a tender moment of like, he stabs him and then he like holds.
Yeah, so I guess this movie is supposed to happen before that. If it happens after that.
Speaking of it, have you?
Oh yeah, it follows Maul navigating life before the events of Star Wars Rebels, including training a Padawan. They're bringing back a bad bitch into Star Wars canon for this.
Thank God. We need more bad bitches.
Have you seen the? God, I can't remember her fucking name. But does it say it in here? No, it doesn't. It's another Dothmerian, but everyone's like, she better be in her fucking comic accurate outfit, and she's just like wearing barely anything.
Oh God. What does she look like? Do you have a picture of her?
Let me see if I can find her.
Because I'm gonna fan cast her when you show me a picture.
Darth Maul Padawan.
Does she also? Isn't there a female Darth Maul?
Yeah, that's her.
That's her. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They need to put Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez. I could see it.
Gal Gadot.
What is her name?
They should get Ventress in a live action movie.
No, sorry. This is her.
Okay, yeah, I've seen her before.
Yeah.
Okay. They need to wait. Let me see her again. When you throw little fucking braids on someone like that, like I don't even know what that is.
It's like their flesh.
But like flesh braids,
yeah.
Right? When you got an alien with flesh braids,
Darth Talon. That's what her name is.
The actress has got to be a POC. So it's got to be a baddie POC.
Well, it's Disney, so they'll probably cast Zendaya.
I don't think Zendaya would do a Star Wars movie.
I hope not.
I really don't. I mean, it would be cool, but like, I don't think she has. I don't think I think she's beyond that because she's in Dune.
Yeah,
like that's already a lot.
Dude, fuck
did
this
you ever
goddamn
see
website.
Obi-Wan or Ashoka?
I saw the Obi-Wan show. That was pretty fucking mid and didn't make any sense at all.
I really liked how the first episode was good, and then it relied on Leia and like completely ignoring the whole fact that like Obi-Wan was supposedly on like Tatooine watching Luke for hella long. And then at the end they kind of locked in for a really cool fight.
Yeah.
And then it was like, wait a minute, they haven't seen each other in hella long, and that was like the premise of episode 4 is like this was their first time meeting, but they just straight up fought each other.
Yeah.
I really like when they ignore canon. I think it's actually really funny when they ignore canon because it's just like
it kind of works because when Vader sees Obi-Wan for the first time, he's like, when I last left, I was but an apprentice, now I am the master. That's still like pretty early into Darth Vader's like Sithhood, I guess. Yeah. Because Leia's only like what, 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah, but Luke is a teenager.
No.
In 4. Isn't
he supposed to be 4. I thought you were talking in that show. I was like, they're twins.
One is the tattoo. It's the sand.
It's the sand. Sand makes you age faster.
That's exactly what happens when I watch a Jon Favreau show with a desert in it.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be like 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there. So that's like another decade that goes by before he sees Vader again. So that I think makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is the message that Leia gives out to Obi-Wan. She's like, oh, like you fought for my father in the Clone Wars and all this shit, talking like she had never met him before, doesn't know anything about him, but knows of him.
When I was 5.
Well, if you went on like a fucking adventure where people were shooting at you and this old man saved you and you learned he was a Jedi whose name was Obi-Wan, you would probably remember that.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. But, did you see Ahsoka?
I didn't like that. No, I didn't watch Ahsoka.
Okay. It was kind of more or less the same thing, except the middle was the good part. The first episode was okay, and I think what really did it is there was a lot of lightsaber action. Yeah, and she has the white lightsabers in that. Yeah, so that was really cool. But it really heavily relied on Anakin. Like they were like, "Oh, Hayden Christensen's coming back as Anakin," and everyone was like, "Yeah!" And then he was in that show. Yeah, like there was flashbacks to the Clone Wars, like. It was just ripped straight out of the animated series, like, and then they had the whole Rebels team in there. Mm-hmm. Like everyone was, in fact, the last battle is a Rebels episode. Like it literally is just a Rebels episode. It ends with them being transported to another galaxy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is weird, and that's where everyone is right now. They're just like not like
Did you ever watch Rebels? No. Did you watch it all the way through?
I've never watched the Clone Wars all the way through.
Okay, yeah, because I think
much, and I'm just like,
Clone Wars is so good. It is weirdly out of order though.
You're gonna hate me.
It's like It's like when they were releasing the episodes, they had them all finished. They press shuffle, and then that's how they figured out how to release them. There's like a list. Wars? Yeah. Okay. There's like a list that'll tell you how to watch it in like chronological order, but for whatever reason, it's just way out of order.
You're gonna hate me when I say this.
The last season of Clone Wars is some of the best like writing
I've heard
ever.
That. I've heard that.
It's so good.
You're going to hate me when I say this, but I'm far more interested in the original. than I am in the actual series. Not the movie that is the same animation as the series. The one where everyone looks fucking distorted.
Oh, the Cartoon Network one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never watched that one.
Hard.
I've heard that one was good too. I haven't watched that one.
This is the whole thing. Okay. We'll talk about this more when we do our episode 3 review, because we're going to go see that.
But that will be next week's episode.
No, it won't, because we're seeing it next week after we record. So it'll be 2 weeks from now.
Oh,
so we'll have a Star Wars break, which actually works because I have something for next week, so we're good.
Okay.
We have a little reprieve. But we'll talk about this later. But George Lucas has this habit of locking in really, really, because the episode or the movie was, I believe, written and either like co-directed or just straight up directed by him. He has this habit of locking in to do the coolest shit ever and then going, oh crap, this is a prequel. And we have to kind of get everyone to their next starting point positions. And so like there's this scene at the end. So basically it is the movie ends with Palpatine being kidnapped. It shows how Palpatine was kidnapped. So the movie literally ends as episode 3 begins. And it starts where episode 2, no, it starts before episode 2. And then it like goes through episode 2, and then it shows what happens between 2 and 3. And it ends right before, like it ends the day that Palpatine gets kidnapped. Yeah. Quote unquote. So at the end, there's this scene where they have
I drew George Lucas.
Palpatine. That does look like him. Show everyone.
I drew George Lucas.
So there's a scene where they're at the fucking Palpatine's office, right? And they're like, oh crap, Grievous is gonna come kidnap the Chancellor. Yeah. So they send a team of people to go in, and they have the fucking red guys and the blue guys, the clones, and they're just crazy in that movie. Like whatever they did in that movie is just leagues above anything they do in any other material. I'm so sorry. Like,
I've seen the scene where they're like going down the elevator and like Grievous is wall running down trying to catch up to him, and he just pulls out a fucking rocket launcher and shoots it off in the elevator. So good. That's so fucking funny.
I honestly might watch that movie tonight now. It's so good. But that's the thing. So Mace Windu's there. Anakin and Obi-Wan are nowhere to be found.
Yeah, because they weren't there.
Yeah. So Mace Windu's there. They have Mace Windu, and then they have you probably know what they're called, but it's the guys who are brown. They're brown aliens, and they have like a face that goes. They look like a hammerhead shark.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about. I don't know what the fuck their species are, but their mouths are on the side of their necks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he like basically like they're in Palpatine's office, and Grievous gets there, and he like uses his gills to like use like a sonic like thing, and it like fucking like blows Grievous out of the window. Like it's so crazy. Cool. Kit Fisto's there. Mace Windu's there. What's his name? The guy who gets blown up, Ahsoka's friend that she likes, Plo Koon. Plo Koon's there.
Yeah.
And then
that is his name.
There's one other guy. Bothan is there. And then you know the guy that Obi-Wan in episode 4 cuts the arm off, the alien in the bar.
Greedo.
He's like no. The guys at the bar, and he's like, I don't like you. My friend doesn't like you. And then it's like the alien guy.
Yeah.
One of those guys is a Jedi. So they're all there. And Grievous comes in, and they're like, whatever. They're like down there. And it's like literally right as they're taking off, you can see where George Lucas was like, this has to line up with episode 3. And Mace Windu force chokes him and crushes his ribcage. And that's why he's like.
Yeah, that's why he does the cough. Yeah.
And I'm like, you didn't have to do that, man. Like you could have just
that was
suspended disbelief. Like,
so all of that came out after episode 3 was released, right? Yeah. And I knew at the time episode 3 released, George Lucas knew that that's how Grievous got his cough, because there's like a book like that big that goes through a bunch of details on like the space fighters and like the characters and shit. And I had that as a kid, and the page about Grievous mentioned that like his rib cage got like force crushed, and that's why he was coughing.
Yeah. But it's I mean, I'm not even joking. Like the movie ends 30 seconds after that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you could just kind of see that George Lucas was like, shit. Like
no, that was predetermined. He knew that was going to happen. I'm saying these things are, when George Lucas was writing Star Wars, these things were not like,
he has a habit of putting things in at a very like awkward time where it makes it seem like that, because that happens in episode 3. We'll talk about it when we get to episode 3. I have like, that's like, I already know it's gonna piss me off in the movie. It's the only thing I don't like about episode 3.
What is it?
It's the fact that the last 20 minutes of the movie is him going, oh crap, everyone has to be ready where they need to be for episode 4.
It's like 20 years before episode 4.
Yes, but like literally it's like, so the point where Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting and then the fight ends, right?
Yeah.
Anakin's dying on Mustafar. Obi-Wan's like, I gotta go. The last 20 minutes, Luke and Leia are born.
Yes.
Padme dies.
Yes.
Obi-Wan's like, shit, I gotta go into exile. And Yoda's like, shit, I gotta go into exile. And then they give Leia to Bail Organa. They give Luke to Uncle Owen and what's her face? I don't remember her name.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's just shoving everyone into where they're supposed to be for episode 4 for the last 20 minutes. And I'm like, you can tell, because the whole movie...
So, hold on. Let me get this straight. So, a movie comes out, a prequel for it is made, and your gripe is the prequel tells you to how people got where they are in the first movie that you saw.
My gripe is that the movie is almost 3 hours long. It is like this, like, space opera. It is just like some of the best filmmaking I've ever seen. And then the last 20 minutes are like, oh shit, everyone needs to get where they're supposed to be right just now.
It's the end of the movie. What the fuck do you want? It's telling you
rushed.
how they got there.
It just feels rushed.
It's not rushed. You just said it's 20 minutes. If it was like fucking text on a screen that's like, oh yeah, and then she went here and he went here, then I would agree with you. But it's like, that's the point of the movie, is showing you how they got to the spots where they were.
From a narrative standpoint, it's rushed.
No, it's not.
We'll get more into that.
It's 3 whole movies.
How do you feel?
Telling you how they got to where they are?
How do you feel about Sean Levy being allowed to direct a movie for Star Wars? Do you know who Sean Levy is?
No, what has he done?
Do you have Letterboxd on your phone or IMDb or anything?
I have Google.
Wait, let me just pull up his Letterboxd. Let me pull up his Letterboxd, because it's going to be... I want you to react to his Letterboxd. I don't want you to react to Google, because Google's going to give you his top films. Sean Levy. From a standpoint, I don't think that Sean Levy should be allowed to direct movies.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Ooh, damn. Yeah, this is the same order that Google was giving to me. They also left the movie off on this.
Okay.
Big Fat Lie. Oh no, it's right there. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine
was not good.
Free Guy. I never saw it, but I heard it wasn't good. Night at the Museum, banger.
That was his one movie.
The Adam Project. I don't know what that is.
Every single one of these movies is like
is this
critically
a third? Night at the Museum. Oh no, Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian, banger. Real Steel. I've seen clips of that on TikTok. Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, didn't see. Cheaper by the Dozen, didn't see. The Internship, didn't see. Pink Panther, didn't see. So from what I know of him, if he makes it like Night at the Museum, it'll be good. Like Night at the Museum, but in space. Big Fat Liar was fucking good too.
He hasn't made a movie like Night at the Museum since Night at the Museum. Did you?
That's not true. He made Night at the Museum, Battle of the Smithsonian. No, I did.
You did.
Yeah.
It was ass.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like, I love Hugh Jackman, but it was ass.
Yeah. Yeah, Free Guy I've also heard was ass. Okay, I'm seeing a trend. His last 2 movies had Ryan Reynolds in it. So if Ryan Reynolds is in Star Wars...
Well, Ryan Gosling is...
I was about to say, I know Ryan Gosling was supposed to be in there. How do you feel about Jeremy Allen White as a Hutt?
I don't get it, man. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care. Like, if it's a character who's entirely CGI, I don't care who plays him. I don't. Unless it's Andy Serkis. That's the only CGI person that I will care about, because Andy Serkis just kind of...
Yeah, it is going to be an entirely CGI character because it's a fucking Hutt. Yeah. They're not doing practical effects in the year of our Lord 2025. There
was a supposed set leak of Robert Downey Jr. in his costume for Doctor Doom. And someone was like, this is fake because it's a practical costume.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how a Hutt gladiator is supposed to work, because they're just fucking slugs. Like, you can be buff, that's fine, whatever, that's kind of funny, but like, why does he have to be buff and a gladiator? He's part of the Hutt family.
You know where I think, and not to sound like an incel, where I think the downfall of Star Wars really did happen?
when fucking what's her face took over.
Kathleen Kennedy? No. She's been running that shit forever.
It started getting demonstrably worse. I mean, if you want to go back further than when George Lucas sold it.
Well, yeah, I do think that the Disney effect is a lot. But personally, I think that the movie or the whole universe, so to speak, the IP really started going downhill, I think demonstrably faster than anyone was prepared for, was when they let J.J. Abrams direct Force Awakens. Because my thing is that The Force Awakens is a perfectly fine movie. Is it the greatest movie ever made? No. Is it the greatest Star Wars movie ever made? No. I think for me, I have a ranking of all the Star Wars movies, actually.
I
think it's like, it's not even top 5 for me, but like when I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's a fun movie. It's whatever.
It's just a rehash of A New Hope.
It's A New Hope, and then also a little bit of Return of the Jedi. Like, just, yeah. So, okay, I have it, where is it? I have it 6th for me. Behind 2, Solo, Empire, The Last Jedi, which I've recently moved up to number 3.
That's a fucking insane take. That movie was hot trash.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. So, as far as the characters in 7, 8, and 9, I'm fine with Rey. I think Rey's a perfectly fine character. I'm fine with Poe, and I'm fine with Finn. They're all good characters. But the movies were supposed to be about this new generation. Mm-hmm. Like, it was Luke, Leia, and Han passing the torch over to the new Luke, Leia, and Han.
Yeah.
And the new Luke is supposed to be Rey, the new Leia is supposed to be Finn, and the new Han is supposed to be Poe.
Yeah.
And they didn't do that. J.J. Abrams and Disney made A New Hope 2.
Yeah.
And that put Rian Johnson, who kind of, I think Rian Johnson understood the assignment and was like, I need to separate all of this shit from nostalgia bait. Like, there are these like really cool characters and interesting characters. And like the thing with like Luke being like, the Jedi were wrong and so were the Sith. Everyone was wrong. Everyone's squabbling. Like, that was incredibly interesting. But he also had to just take the scraps that J.J. Abrams left him. And with that, you can't do much. And I think that's why The Last Jedi suffered. And it suffered. And then Disney was like, oh, we took too big of a risk. Bring J.J. Abrams back.
Yeah, well, what was the second movie called?
The Last Jedi.
I thought that was the third one.
No, that's Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, well, either way, they're both hot trash. But yeah, the problem with the sequel trilogy is J.J. Abrams came to them with a complete outline for 3 movies. They were like, okay, here is what the first movie is going to be. It's going to essentially be A New Hope 2. But it introduces you to the characters, updates you on what's going on in the world. And then from what I've seen leak for the story for the second 2, it was going to be possibly on par with the original trilogy. But for whatever, I don't know why, when they decided to not go with J.J. Abrams' story after making his first movie and bring in someone completely different who essentially had to
rewrite the scripts.
Yeah, just like come up with his own thing that just didn't really feel connected. That's why half of the movie is just on a casino planet where like nothing happens. Yeah, because they're just like, we need something to extend the runtime.
Well, and that was one thing I didn't really like about The Last Jedi is it separated everyone like Empire Strikes Back did.
Yeah,
but it didn't do a good job of because the whole thing is Empire Strikes Back. If you
when they get separated, there's like consequences.
Well, it's from a narrative standpoint, it kind of looks like this. So they're all together, they get separated, and then it kind of converges back.
Yeah,
in a natural way.
Yeah.
In The Last Jedi, everything everyone's doing is like, oh, we got to escape from the fucking dreadnought, right?
Yeah.
But at the end, they're kind of just forced back together. There's no like, natural kind of like segue, like, okay, Finn and Poe are back, and so is Rey, like everyone's back. Like
the only good thing in that movie was
the cinematography. I think the cinematography.
No, I was gonna say the scene where it's like completely fucking silent and they just blitz through that ship. Oh, I always think that's a crazy scene.
Yeah, I love
how people were like complaining that there wasn't sound in that scene. And they had to put up a notice that was like, yeah, the scene is supposed to be silent. It's not an error in the film.
Guys, we realize this is your first like art film, like from a director who's not just directing like the same thing over and over again.
There could have been 2 redeeming qualities in The Last Jedi if they let Finn sacrifice himself and die like he was supposed to.
Yeah,
that would have been great. But then that random bitch just like comes in and crashes him and is like, we need to be thinking about love. Like, no, these people want to fucking obliterate us.
Yeah,
I could have stopped them, but now we have to run from them again because of your dumbass. I hate that character so much.
I think she was poorly written, and then the actress got like a lot of heat from it and a lot of racism, and a lot of misogyny, and it's like, guys, like that's not her, that's the writing. Like I don't know what to tell you. I personally think the cinematography saves the movie for me. Like I watch it purely for like the fact that it is, I think, on par with Rogue One, which is, I think, the most gorgeous Star Wars movie. I think that simply putting bright colors on a screen is not.
The fight with the Praetorian guards was good too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The cinematography and like the set pieces were really, really good.
Yeah.
The story, again, I think just suffers because they wanted to go in a different direction. And then Rian Johnson was like, what do you want me to do, man? Like, there was nothing set up in 7 to, if you want it to be a trilogy, like you got to do a lot in 8. 8 had to do a lot of heavy lifting if 7 was the thing.
Yeah.
Or the start of it. And that's my whole thing. So I'll give you a summary of what I think 7, 8, and 9 should. You can tell me if it fits canon or not, because you know canon better. But I think that 7 should have started with like more so like the first. It should have been a longer movie, first of all. It should have been like an almost 3-hour movie. But it should have started with like visibly showing everyone, like physically showing everyone that the Republic is like intact and like good to go, and like how the consequences of 4, 5, and 6 have like permeated, right?
Oh, you're talking at the beginning of 7.
At the beginning of 7. So like, I don't know, droids having the right to vote or something like that. Like, because droids aren't citizens in the Star Wars universe. They're like, but basically like something like that. Just, it doesn't have to be droids having the right to vote, but something like that to show that like the new Republic that they set up is like working and functioning, and like 4, 5, and 6 were not just for nothing. 7 started with this whole like, oh, the First Order's here. And it's like, okay, so what the fuck was 4, 5, and 6 for?
Yeah.
Like, what was all of those things for if you're just going to let the Nazis back in? So 7 should have been, the Republic is in power. Luke is off on the fucking Irish planet that he's on 8, teaching the Jedi. But he's teaching them, like, he's already, you know, the point where he's at in 8, where he's like, oh, the Jedi were wrong, and so were the Sith. Like, everyone was kind of wrong. You got to kind of, you know, give and take. He should have been at that point at 7 at the start.
Okay.
I think the idea of Rey being like this random person that they find is fine. I think the idea of Finn being a stormtrooper, perfectly fine. That element can be brought into it. If you kept all the characters the same, you can make it work. But essentially just have like a faction of like the First Order, essentially like in the background, like operating. And then they do like a terrorist attack, like basically make them like a terrorist cell.
Okay.
And then have them do some kind of terrorist attack, whatever. And then have it be like, okay, like Han is retired, like he's not doing anything. Leia's still like a general or a senator or whatever. She's not like, she's important, but she's not leading the show. Get all the characters together and make it so that like it is by the end of 7, Luke, Leia, and Han are all but irrelevant, either dead or irrelevant.
Okay.
Like, I don't want them to be main characters like they were in 8. So that by the time you get to 8, it's like, it is reliant on Poe, Finn, and Rey. Because that's what 9 was. 9 started with them being reliant on Poe, Finn, and Rey. And that was like the one redeeming quality of 9 for me. Was that like, the whole point of the trilogy was passing the torch, and by the start of episode 9 they were past the torch, but that doesn't leave them a lot of time to do character development.
Yeah,
I think the villains of the whole thing should have not been Snoke and Palpatine for some reason.
Yeah,
it should have been Force ghosts.
Okay.
So it should have been basically like them. I'm trying to explain this in a way that makes sense. So like, you know how they always talk about like balance of the Force, and in episodes 1, 2, and 3 they think that like killing off the Sith is like balance, but that's not balance, because that means that like you have the dark side of the Force and the light side of the Force, and just the light side.
Light's too heavy. Yeah.
And then that's kind of the natural conclusion that they lead to in 6, with Darth Vader being like, oh, I'm a good guy again, actually I was just jaded. Like,
yeah,
he
it was
brought
like
balance by
too
kind
heavy
of
on
like,
the dark. And then...
and so it should be that all the Jedi and all the Sith that have ever existed, when they die, go to like a, you know, higher dimension.
Okay.
Like the Force, like the physical Force. Like they become the physical Force. And they are manipulating like these people who are like super polarized. These people who are unwilling to look at either the Sith and saying, okay, some things work here, like, you know, using love and, you know, using your emotions to, you know, drive your decisions in, you know, reasonable circumstances. People unwilling to do that. People who are like the Sith, who are like, you can't use reason and logic like the light side does. They become these Force ghosts that basically are the thing that's throwing off balance of the Force. And they're starting to break through this dimension and coming in and throwing off. And that's what the fucking First Order should be doing, is like trying to essentially lure them into this thing so that they can do a grab and like get that power.
Okay.
Get that energy. It would probably take me an hour to explain like the full thing. That's the abridged version. But like, it needed to be nothing we've seen before. And it can't just be, here's the First Order. Like the First Order should be like a bridge, a terrorist cell bridge to that. Like there should have never been a point in 7, 8, and 9 where the First Order was in power at all. Maybe had the upper hand, sure. But in power, no. It should have always been like the Galactic Republic, the new Galactic Republic. And by the end of it, it should have been Rey wrangling in the Force to like have true balance. And she also shouldn't have been a Skywalker or Palpatine or whatever the fuck she was. Dumb. She literally, like, the idea of her being no one is perfect. The idea of you are no one, you came from no one, you're just a random person who happens to be very strong and in touch with the Force. That's perfect.
Okay. How originally the story after Star Wars was supposed to go is Luke and Leia have a kid that they named Jason. Well, they had twins again.
Luke and Leia had kids?
Or no, sorry, not Luke and Leia. Han and Leia.
Wait a minute.
No, like Luke and Leia twins. There's Han and Leia have kids, Jason and Jade. They're both Force sensitive. Luke like trains them. Huh?
What happens to Ben?
Well, he didn't exist at this point.
Okay, so Kylo Ren is just like a figment of J.J. Abrams' imagination.
He didn't exist until Disney bought the franchise.
Okay.
Yeah, but then all of this got rewritten by Disney, so it's no longer like in the canon.
Okay.
But they get trained by Luke. One of them ends up getting corrupted by the dark side. I believe it's Jason. And then he like runs off on his own. He ends up killing Luke. And then his sister comes and like fights him and brings him back to the light side. And then there's a bunch of things with like kind of like Force ghosts, except they're called, I think it's called like the Weird or something, but it's like these creatures that are like demons essentially.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they like start fucking with shit, and then the siblings like fight them off. There's like a bunch of other shit that happens too. There's like some stuff with like the Mandalorians that goes on.
Well, that sounds tangentially similar to like what I was suggesting.
Yeah.
Like
the story that J.J. Abrams had originally for the sequel trilogy was really good too. So he had The Force Awakens, and then at some point he would have more like development of the First Order. Like they would essentially wipe out the New Republic after those 5 planets got blown up in The Force Awakens.
Right.
And they would take back Coruscant. And then what's his face? The ginger dude.
Hux.
Yeah.
General Hux.
His whole story arc ends with him still being a spy, I believe. But he ends up like killing himself on Coruscant, and then himself. That triggers like a whole sort of like downfall of the First Order.
He's pathetic through like all canon,
pretty much.
Like,
yeah,
he's not okay.
Yeah, but there's like they were gonna go back to Coruscant. There was going to be a big like urban battle in Coruscant and shit like that, and like an uprising from the lower levels.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, so those are the 2 stories that got deleted. But
I don't know. It's just, to me, it's like, I like the lightsaber stuff.
I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I'm tired of Star Wars. Stop making Star Wars.
I like the Jedi. I like the Sith. I like the whole lightsaber. But I think that Star Wars is at its best when it's a political drama.
It's at its best when the movies are 20 years apart from each other.
Yeah, there's that. But like, I really do, and this is maybe just my personal taste, but like 1, 2, and 3 being literal political dramas. Like I think it's like episode 1. There's like barely anything that happens. It's literally just people sitting around and talking. Like, and you have the opening scene, right, where there's a little bit of action, and then you have like Naboo, and then after that, it's kind of just them like, what do we do? The Separatists are being a little testy right now, and then it ends with like, the battle on Naboo.
Yeah.
But like at 1, 2, and 3 are just political dramas. So I think it's at its best when it's a political drama and when it focuses on the Force. Like The Force Unleashed, such a good story. I get that it's not canon, but like such a good story because it doesn't focus on like a Skywalker.
Yeah, I was about to say they just need to let.
That's why I'm such a big writer for Solo. Like, I know that people don't like the Solo movie. I like the Solo movie purely because I don't hear the name Skywalker.
Yeah, they need to move on from the Skywalker shit. Rogue One, no Skywalker in it. Probably the best of the new movies that's come out.
Well, no, he's in it. He's spliced throughout it, but
who?
Vader.
Oh, I guess. But at that point, he's not a Skywalker.
The movie isn't reliant on him, is what I'm saying. Like, and that's the whole thing. I get that 1 through 9 are like the Skywalker saga.
Yeah.
But like 7, 8, 9.
But like, let's move past that. Let's go back to the Grand Republic, and not the Grand Republic that they're trying to fucking make as like some fucking Western outlaw type shit that's just going nowhere. But like the old Grand Republic that people like give me.
I would like to see a Western style Star Wars movie, but I'm so scared that they're going to set it on fucking Tatooine. It's just like, I don't know. What other... Okay, so they announced Darth Maul. They announced Sean Levy's weird movie.
Yeah, they announced an RTS game that'll be coming out.
What's RTS?
Real-time strategy. It's a turn-based combat game. There's only been a little bit of footage that's come out from their showcase that they did over in Japan, I believe. But I am excited for that. I love RTS games. Have you ever played like any of the Sid Meier's Civilization games?
No, but I know what they are. I know what they entail.
Yeah.
So it's like that.
Not like that in terms of like you have this country and you're trying to kill other countries, but you get to create like your crew of people and then do whatever the fuck the plot of the game is. I don't know what it is, but
gotcha.
It seems like it'll be either good and fun or really fucking terrible.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. If I was in charge of Star Wars right now, as far as film, hold on. My dog is under this table.
He's eating his own ass. He looks like a donut.
If I was in charge of Star Wars right now, as far as film media, so like TV and movies go, I wouldn't make TV shows. I'm just gonna say that I don't like TV personally. I really don't. There's only like 5 TV shows that I've ever watched full way through, so that's maybe just my bias, right? I don't. Okay, I'm gonna bring this back to Marvel. So when Disney Plus first launched, their whole thing was, oh, we're gonna have Marvel TV shows and not like animated TV shows. We're gonna have, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki.
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige's sell on that was, it's like a movie that is really, really long that like you don't have to have cut scenes from. Like we don't have to cut the scenes from it because we'll just have the movie just spliced over 6 episodes because each episode's going to be an hour long. We can film as much as we want. It's just like an extended version of a movie broken up into 6 chapters. And that's good in theory, but then you get to, so I don't know if you heard about Moana 2. Moana 2 was supposed to be a Moana TV show.
Okay.
Up until July of last year. So
they're doing it backwards now?
So July of last year, they were like done. The animation was done. The voice acting was done. They were just tightening up everything that they needed to tighten up to get a release. And then Bob Iger said, we are going to make this into a movie. So they took I think it was like a 6 or 7 episode series and condensed it into a 2-hour movie. Right? Falcon and Winter Soldier is one of those TV shows that should have done that. The Falcon and Winter Soldier show should have been a movie, and it could have been a really good movie because literally it was like 6 episodes and 4 of them were pointless. 4 of them were like boring crap that I didn't really care about. And then there's other TV shows in Marvel where it's like incredibly rushed, and I want more of it. And so I don't think that the medium fits. It doesn't translate. I think Daredevil is probably the only successful thing that they have going on that they can cohesively tell a televised story. So if I'm in charge of Star Wars, I'm not doing TV shows. I'm sorry. I don't think that they've made enough good ones to justify continuing the format.
Well, I think the format is fine. You want to have TV shows that are just like extended movies, essentially, if that's how you want to treat it in terms of that level of production quality. Like, that's fine. The issue is, and
we have to have good showrunners, and you have to get rid of Dave Filoni.
Yeah, Disney is treating Marvel and Star Wars like cocaine. Like, they bought their first little dime bag, they hit it a couple times, it made them feel good, right?
They paid $4 billion for it. They need to make their money back.
Yeah, they which I'm sure they did across those first like couple little
no
productions.
Way they haven't. There's no way. And on top of all that, you got toy cells.
Yeah. So they can make their money back with like minimal effort. The issue is they liked the cocaine so much they went and got more. And then they got more and they got more, and now it's not like hitting the same, and so they're just fucking up their nose. That's constant drip in the throat, and they're trying to get that first high again, and it's just not working. Like, you need a tolerance break.
Yeah, well, and so this is another thing that I would do if I was in charge of Star Wars. So I would cut back on pumping out. I hate to refer to it as content, but content.
Yeah.
Right. 1 TV show a year. 1 movie a year, call it good. But also capitalize on the style of success that you've had before without directly just replicating it. The Clone Wars that I was telling you about, the Clone Wars movie, the animated one on Cartoon Network, was wildly popular. Everyone likes it. I literally don't see bad things about it other than the fact that the animation just looks kind of wonky, but it's kind of just drawn like an anime.
Yeah.
Do an animated adult-centered Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Like just a 90-minute movie about a clone squadron in the Clone Wars. It doesn't have to connect to anything. It could just literally be like, this is a random battle that happened. Yeah. Make it gory, make it bloody, make it anime style. Cool. That'll be wildly successful. Right? Because a lot of the fan base of Star Wars is kids, but it's also people who were fucking kids in the 70s. Yeah. Who are like 50, 40, and 30 now.
They kind of did that with Star Wars Visions, I think it was called. I think there's only like 1 season, maybe like 6, 7 episodes, but it's not like a complete story. Each episode is like something different. Like, they're all telling different stories.
An anthology.
They had one episode that was like that, like it was a bit more bloody brutal, and then it was done by like a Japanese studio, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's in that like anime-esque style, and people loved the shit out of that episode.
What was that movie that they were going to do with the director of Wonder Woman that they canceled? I think it's a game now. Is it Rogue Squadron?
Rogue Squadron came out on the N64.
Google Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie.
Patty Jenkins Star Wars.
It got canceled, but it'll show you the title.
Oh, yeah, she is working on something called Rogue Squadron.
Okay.
This was a year ago. It says she claims she's back working on Rogue Squadron.
Okay,
yeah.
So I like the idea of this because it's supposed to be like an X-Wing squadron. Perfect. But
okay.
I think that Star Wars should lock into a genre for each movie.
Yeah.
Right? Because you look at like, this is the whole thing. You look at Obi-Wan and it's a Star Wars movie. Right? It's a TV show, but it's a Star Wars movie. It's quintessentially Star Wars. You look at Boba Fett, Star Wars. Mandalorian, Star Wars. They all are like the same exact thing, which is sci-fi, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. But there have been scenes like the end scene of Rogue One with Vader in the hallway. While not scary, where I'm like, ooh, I'm actually startled by this. It's a scary situation. It's horror adjacent. Make a horror Star Wars movie. Make like a rated R Star Wars movie about like the Sith. Make a Western style Star Wars movie about a bounty hunter, not on Tatooine, on somewhere else, on Coruscant. I don't care. Like, lock into a genre. If it's going to be a Rogue Squadron movie, direct it like a war movie. Direct it like, Saving Private Ryan or, All Quiet on the Western Front or Night. Like, do it to where it like looks like a fucking like war movie.
I feel like I would want them for this Rogue Squadron movie to
Top Gun.
Yeah.
But that's what Top Gun is, a war movie. Like it's an action war movie, but like don't make it just a Star Wars movie. Like people die in Top Gun. And I know people die in Star Wars all the time, but like there's just there's a camaraderie in Top Gun. Like I don't really like Top Gun. I think it's just US propaganda, and that's what pissed me off about it. But like it's still a war movie stylistically, and that's what I'm saying. So like get someone who can direct a war movie. And I think Patty Jenkins is fine because when she did Wonder Woman, the World War I scenes felt like a war movie. It didn't feel like a superhero movie. It felt like a war movie with a superhero in it. And that's what I think that they should do. So if I'm in charge of Star Wars, I'm getting directors who can do things that are stylistic to the story. I think they could even make a comedy.
A Star Wars comedy movie?
I think
that would be awful.
No. Imagine a Wes Anderson Star Wars movie.
I don't think that would be good.
You don't think that would be good? Like that, but that's what I'm saying. Make it a whatever type of movie with a Star Wars skin on it, and that's your success. Don't make a Star Wars movie with a genre skin on it. Make the genre with a Star Wars skin.
I feel like that would be really easy for them to fuck them up.
Did you see Alien Romulus?
That's the most recent one that came out, right? I don't think so.
It was really good, and it felt like a Star Wars movie, but it was an alien movie, but it was still horror. And I think that like if they do that, where they're like, how they were like stripping ships after the fall of the Empire, like make a movie about that. Oh, here's a space station from the Empire, and they're locked on a ship, and there's something in there. There's like an alien in there.
They can sort of do that with one story that's already been written. It's essentially a plague, but it's like kind of a zombie type plague. There's an empty ship, that's kind of just like floating through space. Somebody comes across it. It's an old like Imperial Star Destroyer. They go onto it, and there's just stormtrooper bodies everywhere, but there's no like blaster marks or like sign of a fight or anything. Right. And a lot of the stormtroopers' helmets are like eaten through, and you can see like their decayed like rotting flesh through the helmet. Like I could see them doing like an alien type movie. Right.
Get a horror, get someone who has directed a horror movie before to do that.
Yeah.
Like you could have, that's the whole thing. Get a get a director who's a horror director, and then hire a crew that is a Star Wars crew. I think because the producers and the cinematographers and the special effects supervisors will know how to do Star Wars stuff, but the director will know what is needed to make a successful horror movie, make a war movie, I don't even know, I would even be willing to see like a Star Wars political drama where there is no, inherent like lightsaber battle or big giant, battle between a bunch of people. Blasters, sure, or whatever. Make a murder mystery. Like literally just make a murder mystery set in like the events before episode 4 and just be like, oh, the rebels are investigating this, murder of this political figure. Like, I
feel like I would prefer if instead of them making a genre and just slapping Star Wars over the top of it as a top coat, they do the opposite. Like in Star Wars, there are just so many like stories throughout the comics, throughout canon, non-canon, whatever, that you can make a genre, like any type of genre movie for Star Wars, but you have to, I feel like, know at least a little bit about the lore of it to make it good. And trying to reskin like a different movie as a Star Wars movie, I feel like would be really bad and just not fuck everything up, but it would just feel like kind of like the people didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah, maybe I'm sorry, Havoc is like on this right now and I'm just making sure.
You cooking?
Anyway, what you making? Maybe I am wording it wrong, but what I'm saying is like, I want to watch a Star Wars movie and I want it to be stylistic. Like, I don't want it to just be like another Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go to a Star Wars movie and be like, oh, this is like a horror Star Wars movie. This is cool.
Yeah, I can fuck with that.
I think getting directors who excel in those genres would be great. And I think that getting writers that excel in that genre would be great. And I think they need to steer away from including anyone who has any kind of major name recognition in Star Wars.
Yeah,
I don't want to see Han. I don't want to see Leia. I don't want to see Luke. I don't want to see Ahsoka. I don't want to see Bo-Katan. I don't want to see Boba Fett. I don't want to see Jango Fett. I don't want to see anyone that has been a top build character, unless it's Mace Windu. Unless you're going to somehow get Sam Jackson back as Mace Windu, I don't want to see anyone that has been on screen before with like a name recognition like that.
That is how Star Wars used to be. Like the first episode, A New Hope, nobody knew who Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and
I don't even care. I think it's fine to throw...
Harrison Ford were before that movie.
People knew who Harrison Ford was.
Not like, but Star Wars like fucking elevated him to another level.
Yeah.
And kind of the same thing with the episode. Like the first episodes, like they had a blank slate. Liam Neeson, people knew Liam Neeson. He was like the big fucking character for episode 1, and I guess Samuel L. Jackson. But other than that, like Ewan McGregor, I feel like wasn't widely as recognized.
I mean, this is the whole thing. I don't really mind them saying like with Sean Levy's Star Wars movie, I'll give it to them that like them using Ryan Gosling as like kind of the draw. He's a really good actor.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I don't mind the like a single big name actor in a movie. I just get worried about the budget getting blown up by big name actors.
Yeah.
But I really just think that like character wise, writing wise, I don't want to see a main Star Wars character or even like a second or tertiary Star Wars character on screen. Like even as a cameo. Like I don't want there to be a movie set in the Republic.
Yeah.
You know, where it's a political drama about a senator who was killed and then be like, oh, here's Padme.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Mace Windu. Oh, here's Kit Fisto. Here's Palpatine. You know,
I don't want them to load it with people that I recognize.
You can throw the names around because they exist. Like, there's no way around that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't want to hear. Like, you could be like, oh yeah, Palpatine ordered this, this, and this. Like, he appointed a special counsel to investigate this, murder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the political drama. Don't show me Palpatine. Name only.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think Star Wars needs to do is get away from, hey, who it is.
Yeah.
Look who it is.
Yeah.
And get into different genres, break into different markets. It's not just a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So That's what's wrong with this woke agenda, Star Wars. That's what's going to be the title. We took on the woke Star Wars agenda. Is going to be the title of this episode.
Star Wars went woke.
Star Wars went woke.
God, go back to sleep, Star Wars.
Okay.
Stop making Star Wars shit for like 20 years. Let me forget about it.
Yeah, make more Tron movies with Jared Leto.
Fuck no. Don't touch Tron either. God damn. There's so much wrong with that Tron movie.
Okay.
It's not even out yet, but I already hate it.
I want to watch. So I didn't know that Tron Legacy was a sequel to the original Tron from like, I don't know when it was, the 70s or the 80s. I thought that there was a Tron. I thought that they remade Tron in the 2000s and then Tron Legacy was a sequel to that. So I want to watch both of them now.
Yeah, there's a video game came out in the PlayStation 3 era. It's really good called Tron Evolution.
They have the motorcycles in GTA.
Yep. They got Tron motorcycles in GTA. But Tron Evolution was a hella good game. I played the fuck out of that as a kid. It's like the events of Clue taking over the grid and shit like that leading up to Tron Legacy.
I have no idea what Tron. I literally thought they raced motorcycles. I thought it was Speed Racer, but but not. But I'm gonna watch them. Okay. Before we go, let's read socials.
Yep.
But first, let's take a second and pose for the camera so I can get a good crop on us. Thumbnail. So we're taking on the woke agenda. What would Alex Jones do in this moment? How would he look?
How would Alex Jones look?
Yeah, I'm going to do this.
Make myself as red as possible.
You hold the papers. I'm going to do this. And then we're just going to do a 2-second look at the camera. Ready? 1, 2. Okay. Jesus Christ. You're holding your breath. Okay.
I was doing that thing where you hold your breath and push.
Guys, last week... Oh, real quick before we... Where are we at right now?
Hour 26.
Real quick. We're going to speed run it.
Okay.
I want your ranking of the Star Wars movies that have been like live action in theaters. So I have these are the movies. I'm going to name them in order of chronological events. 1, 2, 3, Solo, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's been 11.
Yeah, so like the 11 main Star Wars movies that have released in theaters. What is your ranking?
Number 1 will be Empire.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm going to say Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
Number 3, I am going to go with New Hope.
Okay.
Number 4, I'm going to throw Rogue One in right there.
Okay.
Number 5, I'll do Return of the Jedi.
That's way higher than I thought it would be.
Number 6, I'll go with I'll go with Phantom Menace episode 6 or for number 6. Number 7, what else am I missing?
Solo, Last Jedi, Clones, Force Awakens.
I'll put Solo after Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Number 8,
got Attack of the Clones. You got
I'll go
Last Jedi.
Force Awakens. Number 9,
you got the original too. Oh no, you don't.
Huh?
You have that as number 3.
Oh yeah. Number 9. God, these last 3 movies are just so shit. Which one do I hate the most? I'll put Attack of the Clones at number 9.
You don't like Attack of the Clones?
It's not.
Maybe it's because it was the first Star Wars movie that I've ever watched that I like it. Yes, it is the first one I've watched. Sorry.
It's the whole. It's just not the best.
I really like the opening scene because it used to scare me. Do you see how good the opening scene was with the fucking caterpillar that they put in the centipede? Remember the little drone comes up to her window as she's sleeping?
Yeah, the fucking worm
scared
thing.
I was as a kid.
Yeah,
that's the horror. That I need to lock into that.
I think they should have. I think Attack of the Clones would be a lot better if they just let Anakin beat off like one time after he first saw Padme. I think it would just be a lot better. Oh God, what do I hate more? The Last Jedi or The Rise of Skywalker? They're both so shit. I'll put Rise of Skywalker at the end, and I'll put Last Jedi at number 10.
Okay. I'm going to go my ranking. Okay. I'm going to go bottom top.
Okay.
So in last place, Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
Then we got Return of the Jedi.
Why did you hate that one so much?
I didn't hate it. I just don't. I don't know. It didn't. I watched it again one time, and I was like, this is kind of nothing. This was a nothing burger. Episode 1. So Phantom Menace. Star Wars, the original, A New Hope.
You put A New Hope at 8?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Solo.
Okay.
I'm a ride or die for movies that are not have anything to do with the Skywalker. Force Awakens.
Okay.
Attack of the Clones. This is where you really get mad at me. Empire.
Okay.
The Last Jedi.
Fucking jump off a bridge.
Rogue One. And Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
That's my ranking.
God, that is just a god awful list.
That's a cinema.
Attack of the Clones being number 5 should get you persecuted.
Cinephile list. I had fun with Attack of the Clones. Sorry, maybe it's also because my favorite Lego Star Wars level is the Battle of Geonosis.
My favorite Lego Star Wars level is from Return of the Jedi when you're riding the speeders through all the trees.
Yeah, those are fun. Okay, before we go, let's do socials, guys. I forgot to read socials last week, and also. We have 7 reviews on Apple Music. I have no idea how many we have on Spotify.
We have reviews on Apple?
Well, we have ratings. That's my thing. That's what I'm getting at. So we have ratings. If y'all could just scroll down. If y'all could leave a little written review, that helps as well. So if you want to give us a rating, an honest rating, obviously. And then
can I leave a rating that says I'm on this show and it's good?
Because it's your IP address.
Because I'm on this show.
You're not doing it on our account.
Okay.
So I do that. I've rated our show.
I've hit the little 5-star things. Honestly, 3 of these are probably me because I've hit 5 stars on our show so many times, but it keeps like resetting to tap the rate.
It's because you're listening to new episodes.
Oh, so it's per episode that I'm rating. I'm not rating the whole show.
Yeah. And then it kind of puts it into a whole thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. So if you could go on your Apple podcast or your Spotify podcast or whatever the fuck it's called and leave a review, like a written review and a rating, that would be great. Like and subscribe to our YouTube. We really need it there. Leave a comment. And in the comments on the YouTube video, you don't have to even watch the YouTube video at this point if you're listening, but go to the YouTube. Right below the subscribe button is the like button. Subscribe to us and leave a comment and give us your Star Wars ranking. Actually, yeah, you could do that. Or you could tell us your favorite and least favorite Star Wars movie.
Shout out to that guy that commented saying...
Oh, yeah, we helped someone in their Gov class.
Yeah, they used our podcast on that court case for their Gov class.
Citizens United.
Yeah.
I am a subject expert. Okay, let's see. So YouTube is not on this list, apparently. Oh, there it is. We are Learning Curve Pod on YouTube. I was going to read our Gmail out.
Don't do that.
We are learningcurvepod.bsky.social on Bluesky. Go on there. You can yell at Bodhi for not showing his balls. Twitter, we are at LearnCurvePod. Instagram, we are learningcurve.podcast. Like our reels. Bodhi's Twitch is Shrink3Dink. And our TikTok is Learning Curve Podcast. We are at 51 followers. We are so close to 100. And by close, I mean halfway, but that is close enough.
Yep.
What does that say?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, God. I'll learn what it is Tuesday when I'm frantically editing stuff together.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.